ever found yourself in a situation with someone where you seem to repeat the same uncomfortable or even destructive patterns with them every time you meet them? For instance, you might feel you're never able to say no to a particular person, or that someone in your life always puts you on the defensive with a constant stream of criticism. Maybe there's someone who always relegates you to the role of listener, never taking an interest in what's happening with you. And each time you might think, never again, next time it'll be different. But it never is. Transactional analysis, or TA, is a theoretical framework used in therapy and counselling, which suggests that one of the overriding factors in the perpetuation of these situations is not the other person's behaviour, but our own state of mind. TA suggests we shift between three distinct ego states. Parent. This is a state in which you think, feel and behave in ways based on how your parents and other authority figures acted. Adult. Here you think, feel and behave in response to the here and now. You're able to draw on your full life experience, and generally you're geared to a realistic, objective appraisal of your experiences. Child. In this state you think, feel and behave just like you did in your childhood. So there are the three ego states, but what might they look like if you saw them in action? For instance, what if you suddenly caught sight of someone sunbathing nude outside the window? In your parent ego state, if the attitude you'd experienced from parent and authority figures in your life towards nudity was hostile, you might feel disgusted and outraged. You might bang on the window, tell the person to get some clothes on, or clear off. Alternatively, your parent ego state might express itself by showing concern for the sunbather. You might see the sunbathers getting a bit burnt in places and start trying to push suntan lotion on them. So here we have the two typical manifestations of the parent. We have the controlling parent, who judges and seeks to manipulate people to do what they say. Then we have the nurturing parent, who wants to look after people. Going back to the window, instead of moving to a parent state, we might move to child. As a child, you might have been taught that nudity was shameful and trained to avert your eyes, to feel embarrassed or even guilty. If you felt and did these things, you'd be in your child state. Now there's another side to the child state that doesn't give a damn about what people think. It does exactly what it wants to do. This child might see the sunbather and think, that looks fun. I'm going to rip off all my clothes and join them, whether the sunbather likes it or not. So again, there are two sides to this state. There's the side where the child's adapted itself to the demands of parents and other authority figures, and the free child, who just does what it likes. What does the adult state look like? Well, the adult state is the most open to information in the here and now. The adult enjoys its own spontaneous responses, not responses programmed into it by authority figures. Having no big judgments about nudity, the adult has no need to suppress it. The adult's aware that we all have bodies, and isn't threatened or disgusted by that reality. Fundamentally, the adult respects the sunbather as an equal. The big buzzwords here are respect and awareness. Unlike the parent and child states, the adult isn't subdivided. That's because it's thought to have access to all information, and that's one of the reasons that it's often a goal of TA therapy to strengthen the adult state. This isn't to say the parent and child states are bad. Later in the series I'll be looking at the positives they can give us, like structure and creativity. But because of their very limited awareness compared to the adult, the parent and child aren't great ones to rely on. To illustrate why, let's go back to the start of the video, where I spoke about finding yourself in endlessly repeated patterns of negative behaviour with some people. What state would you say these folks are in? Well, it's not going to be adult. Let's look at why that is. We move